course, we need to understand as fully as we can what to expect when the finance minister steps up to the podium and starts to deliver the mid-year review. Is it fair to say that we haven't had this much anticipation of a mid-year review in quite a while?
Yes. It's fair because, I mean, last year it was just like any other mid-year budget review, which would say it's just a report. Come tell us how far, what you've been able to do. If you want any changes, then you have to come by a supplementary budget in terms of the things that you really asked that you wanted to do. So let's just say, like revenue, there are shortfalls. You want to increase taxes and those things. You put a statement and then you add your supplementary budget if you want to ask for more money to do other things. That's how it is done. And so, but due to the kind of things that are going on, I mean, depreciation of the city, the fact that people felt that things are expensive at the port when really nothing has gone up, you know, the fact that there was a lot of hue and cry over the revenue, you know, the fact that there's a shortfall. So all these things raises eyebrow as to, okay, so what is the next plan? Because IMF comes in, they release their report, and then, they tell us that government admits that there's a shortfall, and they have proposed certain measures to close those gaps. So what are those measures? It means that they need to go back to Parliament and then get the mandate of the parliamentary people, which is actually our mandate, to be able to do those things that they want to do. And so really, I mean, I see this particular mid-year budget review as one that many people have expectations, and people have also opened their ears to hear something and to know what this government will be doing to be able to deal with some of the issues.
I'll tell you what ought to be interesting. If we could do it, we ought to have one of our team watch the mid-year review with the country representative of the IMF.
Definitely.
To see whether or not what we hear reflects what they were told as the proposals that government was going to implement to close the shortfall. I'd love for us to conduct that exercise. But while we're fantasizing, let me say this, and I'm happy to be contradicted. I get the impression that this would not have become such an event if one Gabi Asare-Ochiridako had not suddenly posted on social media this interesting question about, would you agree to a VAT increase to fund, you know, infrastructure in schools and hospitals and so forth? That question suddenly sparked a national debate which has led us to where we are today. But I'm curious, how did the business community react to that national debate?
I mean, you have the business community, all of them coming in there. Because, you see, let me do some simple analogy for you to see. I am running a restaurant, which means that I go to the market and then I buy produce to come and prepare the food. Now, already if I enter that supermarket to pick those raw materials that I'm going to use to prepare that food that you will come and buy, I'm paying VAT on it.
Yes. Right?
I am also mandated to charge VAT on the food that I'm selling in the restaurant. Right? Automatically, when I buy with that increment in VAT, what is going to happen is I'll slap that on the cost of the food. So already, the cost of my food is going to go up by some margin. That is me passing on that VAT I paid in purchasing those materials that I use in preparing that coffee that you came to my coffee shop for. And then I'm also mandated to charge VAT at that point. So you see what is going to happen? Just as we said earlier, increments in even food prices, we will see it right there. Even before I will slap the VAT, if there is any increment at all. So you see how this really happens. And so the business community themselves sit and say, you're going to make, when you do these things, it's going to affect us badly, and we'll have no other choice than to pass it to the final consumer. So kind of you, the final consumer, double taxation right there for you, Kojo. That's what is going to be happening. And so they were not very happy about it. So long as they are not the manufacturers. Even if they were the manufacturers, they have to buy raw materials. And so you see how the tax increases run through the whole system. And that's the more reason why they themselves said, no, you can't even do that. And you don't have to even try it. And I think that when Gabi put that post, it was to kind of test and see what would be the reaction. And I think the president, in looking at the reaction, probably will be the reasons why he said, no, let's not go on that tangent. But you also admit that take free SHS. Mm-hmm. The first batch is already in school. So this academic year, those who have written the BC and then they are supposed to go to school will bring in the second batch, which means that whatever allocations that they made will have to go up. By next year, we'll have the 3-year stream all in school. And that means the allocation will go up again. They need money to be able to pay for those expenditures that are in there. You understand? They need to build that road that we've been crying over. Cocoa roads. I mean, talk of all those roads that leads to those farms, not only cocoa, I mean, into our farming communities. We've been crying over it. They need to get money. I mean, you heard the president, how do I sleep? You remember when he said that when he
Meanwhile, they owe contractors.
Exactly. So all these things come to play. And I'm sure that the business community and at Joint Business, a lot of the stories that we did, you saw Guta not very happy with this. Yeah. AGI, they are not for it. Talk of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, they are not happy with this. And so all the various associations, business community associations themselves said, no, this is not the tangent to go. Not at this time. Not at this time.
Now, there are several things. We've talked about leakages.
Yes.
And the NHIA is proposing some new taxes to help fund the scheme. They basically don't think that what we're contributing at the moment is anywhere near what is required to keep such a social intervention running. So they want more tax to fund the NHIA. This is healthcare. It's important. It's crucial. We've embraced it, so we need to make it work. Otherwise, it's a waste. But speaking of waste, we've already started to see examples of things that the NHIA is reported to be doing with the funds they raise, which are not core activities. Funding the travel of ministers and so forth. We've already seen some of these posts coming up. Ministers are requesting money from the NHIA to fund their... And look, these are just a few examples of the ways in which money gets wasted. Are we better off? Would we actually possibly raise more money from blocking wastage than from increasing taxation?
I will tell you yes. If we're able to close those gaps, all the wastages within the system, why not? You will then be able to rake in some monies, like what we've done at the port. You understand? Clearly, we are now seeing people being made to pay the right, tariffs in clearing their goods at the port. And that brings in some monies. We've seen the government revenue at the port, go up by some kind of percentage that it should be. So it means that as a government or as a people, the government will have to ensure that you first block all the leakages and see how much you can bring back, because all those monies that are going to personal pockets, getting into people's pocket, you're able to block it, and then you're able to know that, okay, we've been able to block these things, and that's how much we've been able to bring in. When you have that, then you can say, okay, still we've not been able to match up what we need for expenditure, so you can go back out there and then, introduce some more measures to bring in what you are looking for.
Analyzing this and moving forward with the debate, how well has this government done in blocking those leakage spots? I know that the president recently announced a ban on traveling for his appointees. I don't know how long that will last and whether they are saving much through there. But have there been enough examples of such action being taken to stop the leakage?
Earlier, I told you of what the Auditor General himself is also doing. So you cannot separate what the Auditor General is doing against what the government wants to do, because clearly, the Auditor General is an appointee of government, and he'll probably be taxed to say, you've got to find out for us, how do we block these leakages that we have? You understand me? Saying that ministers shouldn't travel, one good example, because I have seen when there's a program out, sometimes a minister, chief director, I mean, all of them going in there, and then you ask yourself, do you really need to go? We're in Accra, and I asked myself, why are you driving around a V8 in Accra, which seemingly has good roads? I am thinking that if you have to drive out of Accra to the north or to some other areas, you could drive that V8. Because you're looking at fuel consumption for a V8 that you're driving through Accra. Why don't you do with your saloon vehicles, the ones that consume less within Accra? And I always remember the example of President Mills, the late President Mills, who within Accra would go with saloon vehicles and even cut down the convoy. He tried. Maybe subsequent governments, including our current president, should also consider that and probably say, you know what, park those V8s when you are within Accra. But if you have to do the long haul, why not? You can go for the V8 for that safety, comfortability, and all that, to ensure that, because we also admit that our ministers or government appointees must be safe if they have to travel within the country. You understand me? So these are some of the things that the president should also be looking out to see how we can do that.
How well has Parliament performed in helping check the executive's expenditure?
That's a big question. I mean, a parliament where the president will have to appoint majority, I think about 60% of his ministers from, how well will they check themselves? Who watches the watchman? That's the question. If we're able to get to the point where we would move away, you know, allow MPs to be MPs, that will help us.
Let's explore that a bit further in a moment. But right now, we can join my colleague George Riafe and Dr. Joe Jackson. They're in Parliament. Let's get some analysis ahead of the mid-year budget review.
For the next 6 months of the year, what is going to happen in terms of expenditure, in terms of revenue? Now, let's look at revenue. For the first 5 months of the year, government revenue was down by 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. They were looking at a little over, more of like 18 billion. They're doing around 17 billion. Expenditure-wise, doing a little bit quite well. But you know, for a lot of people, this budget has been, people are looking at this review because of the fact that the likelihood that the finance minister is going to review some taxes. And you know, the first people that this might affect is the business community. Joe Jackson is a businessman and is glad to join me in Parliament for some discussion on this. Jackson, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning, actually, for our discussion on this mid-year review. I would ask that as a businessman, for you, first, your expectation.
Well, truth of the matter is this. Taxes must go up.
Interesting, coming from a businessman.
Yes.
I know that you don't want to pay.
No, the two things. We don't want, the taxes must go up because government revenue is constrained. We're so constrained because we're not doing much in terms of getting the economy to start to grow. And even though there's been an expectation that the removal of taxes would start to get that moving, those taxes had limited effect.
Had they had any impact on your operations? Because the whole argument was that
negligible.
These were, why?
Let me take because truly nothing much changed. The taxes that were removed were mainly consumption taxes. So as a business, as a corporate entity, nothing much changed.
But you consume as well, don't you consume?
Of course I consume, but that's my personal. You asked me my reaction as a corporate representing a certain corporate role.
Okay.
And in that case, so if you were asking me, have, for example, some of the taxes gone off my energy bill? Yes, they have. How much impact has it made on our business? Negligible. Right? The challenge we have now is this. This country is broke. Anybody who thinks otherwise is living in la la land.
What is the base la 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 land? I mean, what is the basis of the fact that the country
is broke? If you spend 3 line items: salaries, interest payments, and what do you call it? Statutory transfers.
Yeah.
If you spend 99.7% of all your income, including grants, and that's from this year's budget figures. That was what we spent last year. You are broke. Slice it and dice it anyway. Best case scenario this year, it will drop down to 97%. So we are broke. Let nobody ever get confused about that. In addition, we prioritize some what I call populist interventions, consumption interventions. We want to have free SHS, fantastic. But remember, somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
We want to pay our teachers, we want to pay our trainee nurses allowances, teachers. Somebody has got to pay for that. What we are looking for, what would for us will be a good budget, is not that they didn't increase taxes, but we see concerted efforts at widening the tax net and getting different people to start paying tax and stop taxing, deepening the tax.
You don't share this whole argument of this thing where it's still the 2 million people that we are taxing out of 6 million persons that we understand should be paying taxes.
See, let me tell you something. The sad thing about the 2 million people that we are taxing is that most of the taxes we collect from these 2 million people are just consumption taxes, which are a cheap way of taxing, and formal taxes, payroll taxes. Where are the property taxes? Where are the taxes when they go to register businesses or assets? What we're looking for are different taxes that will force those who have to pay more. And then, of course, we need to bring other people into the tax net. But I assure you, it is not that lady who is selling Indomie outside my office who is going to change the tax revenues of this country. It is when those who live in prime residential areas start to pay property taxes. It is when I go to register a vehicle that I'm asked to show my taxes and I show that I've paid tax. It is when I go and register land, a building. You know, those are the things that will change the fortunes, and that is what we're looking for. Even in the formalization and bringing more people into the tax net, we've done some significant things. The Ghana Post Registration System, the national ID for whom we are playing national ID is a hide and seek. I see you today, I don't see you tomorrow issue. There's national ID, there's Ghana Post, right? What we see are all these things are still sitting in silos. And we don't see where the integrated effort is to bring more people into the tax net.
I get from you that you support the tax on luxury vehicles, but that's something that we are hearing that the finance minister is likely to table that before Parliament.
I support it. Listen, only someone who's thoroughly unrealistic will think that we can get away without more tax. What sometimes I fault this government for is not coming clean and facing reality and saying, there's nothing, there's no money in the kitty. Somebody has to pay. Listen, we've done a poor job at targeting taxes to bring people into the tax net. Taxes must go up.
But don't you think that the ghost that is haunting this government is the fact that there were too much promises to people? This was a government that came in and said that I'm taking off X taxes because they are new to these taxes. Now this same government comes in and says,
but remember,
I want to tax luxury vehicles. I want to have a flat rate for corporate.
But remember, right? Nuisance taxes are nuisance taxes.
Tax on financial services, it was a good avenue to raise money for the state.
And when the cost of your financial services are already too high, when the interest rates are so high, and the tax on that was going to go slam bang into the SME sector. The issue for me is really this. Let's get to the point where taxes really are used to pull more people into the tax market, and taxes take from those who have and allow us to intervene with those who are needy, truly needy. I have a problem with free SHS as it's configured now. Because why should somebody be paying 1,000 cedis plus when the child is in GSS, and as soon as they get into SHS, they stop paying fees?
So, Mr. Jackson, I get from you that for you, as a businessman, you are pro-tax. That let's tax those who are rich.
I'm not pro-tax. I'm pro a government that balances its books. A government that balances its books, right, will stop borrowing. Now, borrowing has two things. If you keep borrowing, of course, you put the whole system at risk. But worse still, if you keep borrowing, you will be taking money that should be accessed by the private sector, and it will be going to the government sector.
Mr. Very soon will be joining the House for the presentation by the Finance Minister. So just want, in a minute, your expectation.
Taxes should go up, but they should go up in the right way. Two, some of the more populist interventions we've had should be reined in.
Joe Jackson is a businessman and is in the business community as well. Well, all too soon we had to draw the curtain down in our coverage, or our pre-coverage of the mid-year review by the Finance Minister, that is Ken Ofori-Atta. I'll be linking to our team in the chamber where the briefing of the Finance Minister would actually be presenting the mid-year review. Also understand that the Vice President is also in to observe the presentation as chair of the Economic Management Team. From here in Parliament, over to you, the team in the main chamber, for the presentation by the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta.
Thanks for staying here on the JoyNews channel. I'm Bernice Abubedu. Well, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has arrived in Parliament to present the mid-year budget review. At least we hear from Deputy Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah that there will be no supplementary budget. I will take you there shortly, but there are mixed expectations ahead of the mid-year budget review later this morning. As you just saw, the Finance Minister has just arrived. Well, the minority in Parliament, they are warning the statement will spell doom for the economy. Well, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta will be reviewing the 2018 budget statement presented to the House. Whilst the majority remains confident the review will set the tone for better development, the minority does not expect anything new. Minority MP Kwame Agboja says the economy is in trouble. Ken Ofori-Atta is also expected to set fresh revenue targets and announce new expenditure plans. Like I told you, he has arrived in Parliament. We'll be taking you there when he begins his statement. But here is a budget targets comparison. So that was just to help you understand the budget targets comparison between 2017 and 2018, what we know so far. So let me take you straight to Twitter, because a lot of Ghanaians are tweeting, and there's been a lot of news prior to today, which we know is the budget review date. Finance Minister is trending. Hashtag budget review 2018 is also trending. Ghana We Day at Port of gov't says budget review 2018 with question marks. Says anything can happen because this is the hashtag Ghana We Day. That's to say this is Ghana, or the Ghana we live in. Kobi Asenso Brobe at Boga 22 says, I hope VAT is increased. If not, then all my anger was for nothing. Like I go bore the minority papa. That's typing in pidgin, saying that he will be very upset with the minority in parliament. He goes on to say, finger crossed, hashtag budget review 18. Well, Kobi Asenso Brobe, what we know from our sources, and we also had Deputy Information Minister say there will be no VAT increase. So, well, maybe you should just kill the excitement now. Joy 99.7 FM shows you a photo of Parliament. Very beautiful scenery there. All set for Budget Review 2018. And this is from Majority Leader Haruna Idrisu, Joy FM tweeting something he says. We are holding, apologies for that, says that we are holding the MPP to their word. They promised a double-digit growth of the economy, and we will expect nothing less. Haruna Idrisu, Majority Leader, saying that. Kwesi Dadson says, I don't really know what is going on in this country because the news is always full of negativity. I don't enjoy messing up my day, but I know I am not happy with the cost of living. That I know very well. Hashtag budget review 18. He's got some 7 retweets and 14 likes. T. Ricky says, to be fair to this government, I think efforts have been made to broaden the tax net, ranging from the introduction of the Ghana Post GPS, Ghana Card, tax, and all others. That notwithstanding, they should not relent in making sure that these efforts bear fruit. Hashtag budget review 2018. Kwame Dudakwa says, the VAT increase. Good economics, he's asking. Yes, he says. Need to improve revenue ratio. Good politically? He asks. No, he answers. Our politics and policy should put what is good for hashtag Ghana first, not what is popular first. Hashtag change you can believe in. Hashtag budget review 18. And Jennifer Aban says, Ghanaians hope hashtag budget review 18 will be full of good news. Okay. Joy 99.7 FM tweets, the NDC cannot say that we are an anti-business regime. We inherited a very messed up economy and made some sense of it. That's coming from Abna Osei Asare. Let's make a few more tweets and I'll head to Facebook. Kojo Esiedu Oday says, if the budget review does not increase VAT today, the way I will skin President Mahama, okay. Hashtag budget review 2018. All right, everybody's waiting to hear that, but we've already heard it's not going to happen. Joy 99.7 FM, the MPP doesn't have a superior debt management strategy. They are doing nothing special. Coming from NDC MP and Minority Leader in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu. Well, we are live from Parliament on Facebook. We're streaming live, and a couple of you have been sharing your thoughts with us on some of the issues that have come up so far. And Adam Rashid, all right, says the majority of Ghanaians will put taxes when the national ID is on point, and this will bring positive change on tax collection. Hazawal says, I think you are a grassroots guy, and I don't think you went down to the people and asked them about their life. To be frank with you, Ghana is hard like a stone. I'm sure he's responding to one of the comments made by our resource persons so far. And Baba Adam says Ghana is more harder under the incompetent NDC, he says. All right, so this is a quote from Deputy Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah that we posted. Says government will find innovative ways to raise revenue without imposing taxes on Ghanaians. Let's see what you have to say about that. Ora Kofi Amwa says, now that upon Nkrumah talking, I rest my case. I think I was too quick to bash you, but notwithstanding, we'd all wait to understand these innovative ways pretty well. And if you joined us earlier, that's the question Mama Vio Wuswa Boache was trying to get out of him. What are these innovative ways you're talking about? And he says, Let's wait for the minister to present the mid-year budget review. Joseph Chase says, Kojo, so why at all did you want to increase? Then he's asking why the innovative ways, he's asking were the innovative ways not there? Salisu Setre says, okay, so I'm sure it's quite a lengthy one there. Well, it's calling the NDC liars and all that. Martin DePore says, in what way can the government do so? Please, the government should not increase taxes. If not, then kill it 2020, he says. Well, let me bring you some highlights of the 2018 budget presented in November 2017. If you just joined us, this is our coverage of the mid-year budget review. Time now to take more of your comments. You can join the conversation using hashtag #BudgetReview18. Let's see what Mr_Deborah is saying. Says, why does the minority leader think he's wise all of a sudden? Where was his wisdom when they were in power? The NDC should keep quiet. So we see what these people are doing, or these people are doing. The politics is too much. And at Nana Money says, so where are those who are confidently saying that the VAT was going to be increased? Hope they'll come out and praise the government if that is not done. Hashtag #BudgetReview18. And this is a quote, Joy 99.7 FM tweets from Isaac Adongo. You can achieve fundamentals of the economy by starving the people. Kojo Esieduode says, all budgets are read within political and economic senses. You've got to marry the two to be able to make full sense of it. And well, T. Ricky is tweeting a lot this morning. And Joy 99.7 FM has asked you to share your thoughts on the budget review. And you can do that. Get onto our Facebook page. We are JoyNews on TV. Or you can tweet using the hashtag #BudgetReview18. And I'll be glad to share your comments with the rest of the world. Loud Fatland says, hashtag Finance Minister, I don't doubt your credibility and accountability, but I just hope what you will be saying in Parliament today will be true value. Hashtag #BudgetReview18. Let's take one last one and head to Facebook. Joy 99.7 FM tweets, when you are barbering your hair, you don't touch it. We are the ones to tell you what you're doing properly or not. Harina Idris today. I'm sure this is an African proverb or a local proverb that he's translated. And Joy News, mid-year budget review, killer taxes will be imposed on Ghanaians. Dr. Clement Apak, MP for Busa South, NDC MP. Let's see what you've been saying about his comment. And Sebastian Darko is calling him a fake soothsayer. Desmond Sin says the budget is useless. He thinks it doesn't change anything. And Pajo says, Nada is not like con man. Okay. Media budget review. All right. We have a photo of the wife of the Minister of Finance. She's also present. And Thomas, well, it's calling her beautiful and intelligent. All right. A lot of your comments. That is the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Gloria Akufo. We bring you live updates on what you need to know about the budget review. So expect photos, videos, anything that happens, you know that you will see it here on the JoyNews channel. We'll take you to Parliament shortly. I can see as the members rise to say a prayer, I hope. And we'll take you there when proceedings begin. And this one says things are not working for this government, but they are not telling Ghanaians the truth. That's according to Edward Bauer. Alexander Clue says, well, he's not too happy with that. And Martin Dipora says, in what way? Give the government a little time and all things shall pass. It's finally coming. The clock is ticking as we wait to hear what the Finance Minister has to say in his mid-year budget review. But here are some snippets of his statement as he delivered it in November 2017. Well, there you have it, some highlights. We expect the Minister to make reference to some of them, tell us the progress so far. While parliamentary proceeding has begun, let's go over to the chamber now.